Folks, welcome to another edition of the White. That dog is so cute. The White Comedy Spotlight, and what a good doggy too. Like totally just part of the camera. I love it. I'm James Lott Jr., your host, and my guest has done stage and screen and television, nominated for Emmys, been through some serious stuff, and always comes out on top. And I've been a huge fan, of course, when she played Barbara Ryan all the last names from As the World Turns. And now she's deliciously serving it up for us on The Young and the Restless as Jordan. Help me welcome, an honor for me, Colleen Zenk. Hi, Miss Colleen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I know you're working hard, so how are you doing today?
I'm exhausted. I just finished my day today,
Yes.
and I'm thoroughly. Boo and I are thoroughly wiped out.
Well, Boo is doing great. Okay, so before we'll talk about Young and the Restless, we'll get there. But I got Colleen for a minute, so we're gonna talk about some other stuff first. But actually, before I even get into that, you've talked to a lot of press. You're back on daytime. How has it
Yeah.
felt for you personally to get all this adulation and welcoming back into the daytime world?
Pretty overwhelming. I never thought that I would land back in daytime after having been there for 32 years on World Turns. But when Boo wants to be in the spotlight.
You can be in the spotlight. You can be in the spotlight.
But I I I didn't even know how I would be welcomed or not, or just kind of thought as oh, that New York actor coming in to work on our show, and by the crew here. And everyone was so welcoming, which was so overwhelming for me in that way. But then when the fans started responding to Jordan, boo,
I was like,
boo
good.
wants to be on
Yes.
camera.
He's like, put me in the camera, mom. In the camera. In the camera.
When the fans started responding to Jordan, in the shock of Jordan appearing was one thing, and then they thought that, oh, I was going to be gone the first time. Then I came back. And then I've been gone a couple more times.
Yes, I know.
And now I'm back in
Yeah.
a whole new disguise.
Yeah. I love it. And then because as you know, I mean, daytime, you could be here today, gone tomorrow, here for a couple of, week storyline and see you later, and you're gone.
Yeah. When Josh called me and offered me this delicious role, it was just for a very short amount of time, and that's changed.
Hmm. I like
Or
that.
like this
Yes, like this. Yeah, exactly. That's good. Because so yeah, for 32 years you played Barbara Ryan. And one of the things I've always wanted to ask you, if I ever met you, as I want to ask you this. Two people, you had many on-screen romances on there and epic stories, but there were two that stood out for me, and that was Hal Munson
Oh yeah,
and James Stik, of course.
of course.
Of course. Two very different storylines and two very different times in Barbara's life.
Mhm.
Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on each one, how you think about them now, you look back at them? And of course, we have both actors, the late greats that
Yeah.
were, all that about, how Ben Hendrickson and of course Anthony Rivera. But when you look at both of those, they really stand out for me. How do they feel for you?
Um, you're absolutely right. James and Barbara were back in when I first came on the show, and Doug Marlin was involved with that storyline at that point,
Yes.
as were the Dobsons. And they wrote me as the put upon heroine. And that changed. And I was still the put upon heroine with Hal, and still the good girl with Hal in marriage number one.
Yes, yes, right. Yeah.
And that changed as well during marriage number two and three, and the marriages in between. But and those two actors were completely different from each other personality wise. Both highly educated, both fabulous actors, and both theater actors. And so I was working with with real pros who really understood the genre. Though Anthony understood it more than Benjamin because, first of all, he was older, but second of all, because he had already done World Turns before, and he'd been on Y&R before that too. So his coming to World Turns was kind of a natural fit for him. For Benjamin, it was very different because Ben came out of Juilliard, and Ben was a classical actor. Ben had already done Broadway when he came to World Turns, and had a very different approach to the material. But both of them, they both drove me crazy because they wouldn't come in prepared, either of them.
What do you mean?
And I know. Well, it was, and that would drive me up the wall. But, and I love them both in their own ways. Anthony Herrera became like a part of my real family with my kids. And Benjamin, we never socialized ever, not once. And I adored him at work, and he was so funny and so loving and so dear, and a tragedy,
Yeah, I know.
He was a tragic guy. And Anthony fought the cancer war. He appeared before Congress in talking about his own battle and trying to get more corporate money and federal money for cancer research. And he fought a hard battle, a really hard battle, and it came back several times. He had a very rare type of blood cancer, very rare. And but those years with those two were so incredible. And then along the way, working with Larry Brigman.
I was gonna say that's next. That was next.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, John Dixon and Barbara Ryan, talk about a mixed match there.
Right.
With Lucinda and then Lisa thrown in the middle.
Yes.
Oh my God. It was Larry and I, remained friends, and we did see each other outside of work. Yeah. And I adore him. But here again, he a theater classical actor, and people say to me, where is he? When he's doing theater?
Yeah, right. He's
working. Yeah. And then at the very end, I had the most fabulous Trent Dawson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yes.
Barbara and Henry. That was actor-wise, I've been dying to work with Trent for years, and they would never write anything for us. And when they finally did, at the last year and a half, of course, Gene Passanante, who was our head writer at the time, and Josh Griffith was one of the writers at the time, they all said, why didn't we do this years ago? And I went, told you.
Seriously, Colleen, he's a great actor. He steals every scene he's in anyway. Already, he's such a good actor anyway. Anyway,
he has a theater company now.
Oh,
did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, very successful New York theater company, and is working. I mean, that's what he and his wife and their two kids do now. I know, and we're very close. Trent and I are, and so as I am with his wife, very close.
But he's such a good actor that when they put you guys together, it just worked.
It worked. It worked for me.
You never know, because you're right. Chemistry can't be bought.
We did because we would talk all the time. In fact, when I did my one-woman show, my cabaret one-woman show, Trent was my guest star, and we sang together.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a great relationship.
Oh, good.
But we talk.
So I love it. I love to hear that. But the thing is, though, you guys on screen, it was like, oh yeah, it totally works. You know what I mean? Because you played a character for so long, as you know, in this business, writers may go, I don't know what to do with her anymore. I don't know what to do. But they always found Barbara something to do. And I always thought that was wonderful that many of you guys had stuff to do throughout your tenure.
Right. They never got, the only time they got tired of me, and it was because of a certain producer we had at the time, and the certain writers we had at the time, which was the late 90s. And they pushed me so far back burner, I fell off the stove. I'm not kidding. Barbara disappeared. And then when Hogan Sheffer came on board, he went, uh-oh, you're not using her? And that's when he resurrected Barbara. And the last 10 years on the show were incredible for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Who is Barbara to you?
Wow, I don't think I've ever been asked that before. Well,
yes. Okay.
There's a lot of me in her, a lot of the humor, a lot of the bossiness. My kids will tell you that. And I was never evil in real life. I have wanted to be from time to time.
Okay,
But
we know that girl. We know that.
But
is she like a sister, a twin, a relative, a friend? I mean, like, what is she to you?
She's an extension of me. I mean, I think that all actors, in whatever they play, they have to find a part of themselves that is in that character to make it actually believable and not just a character you're playing. You have to find the humanity, and if you can find something that relates to you, I mean, that's how I work, at least. And no matter what I'm playing on stage or on a screen, but I mean, I've played so many different characters theater-wise in the last
right.
my career, the last 10 years especially.
Yeah.
And some of them have just been crazy or an outright demonic, maniacal, manipulative, or a supportive mom, which I did with Corbin Benson. Corbin Benson? What did I say that? Corbin Blue.
Yeah, not Corbin Benson. Not Benson. Like, no, I know Corbin. Benson. That's not him. Yes, Corbin Blue. Yeah.
Corbin Blue. Corbin and I did a world premiere play 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And I loved working with him. And now he's had this huge resurgence in his career. But it was so much fun because we had so much comedy and yet pathos together in the play that we were doing.
Yeah, you've done something. You've done so much stage, which I have a question about that too. Like, I'm not, folks. I got Colleen for a moment, so I'm going to ask her things I want to ask you. But one of the things, we lost Chita Rivera recently, and you worked with her. So I'm like, you worked with her on a sequel to Bye Bye Birdie called Bring Back Birdie,
which was the biggest bomb on Broadway at that time. Broadway's never seen a bomb as big as Bring Back Birdie at that time. And I'm working opposite Donald O'Connor.
Right.
And Chita.
Yes.
And Maruice Hines.
Right. I saw that cast. I was like, why did I not see that? Well, I was
27. I was doing world turns at the time, and they worked out my rehearsal schedule. So because I was the other woman in Donald and Chita's life. Yeah. I took Donald away from Chita. Think about that.
Think about that for a second, right?
Just think about that. But yeah, I was doing both at the same time and not realizing what a gift the whole thing was. I was 27.
I know.
Already 2 years on world turns, and now I'm on Broadway, and so I'm rehearsing during the day and in previews at night. We had a 3-month rehearsal period before we even went into our first preview. It was wild, but at the time I only lived 10 blocks away from the studio.
Oh, I love
so it. I was not commuting at all. I could walk to work.
Yeah,
and it was a beautiful time, and I made a lot of friends in that cast, and Maurice and I stayed together. We just lost Maurice too.
I know. No, I know. I'm gonna say that too. We lost him too.
Yeah, I know. So I'm kind of like the last grown-up standing in the cast.
Yeah, that's kind of sweet, but that's very cool. I mean, my thing is, I think, because I'm from New York also, I mean, Brooklyn here, but I mean, we're all about the New York soaps had their own kind of feel because many of the actors were on stage, whether it was Broadway, off Broadway, off Broadway, whatever, upstate, wherever. Do you think being a stage actor can help you in the soap world in terms of acting?
Well, I did in New York. And it really did in New York, because even like the principal players or the day players were all people who worked all the time in the theater, and the way that they'd be able to really afford to stay in New York
Yeah.
was to get work in daytime.
Yeah.
There was no nighttime being done at that point in New York. I'm
There
talking about
wasn't.
the East
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
There was no prime time being done in the city. It was all daytime and theater and an occasional film that might come in to be shot.
Yeah.
And that was it. So the soaps actually supported the theater world. I mean, Eileen Fulton in the 60s was doing world turns during the day and then rushing off to do the Tennessee Williams. It's what Chris is doing right now. And
Oh yeah. Cat of Hot Tin Roof.
no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Cat she was doing. My brain. I'm too many lines today. My
I know
brain
you got
is
a lot of lines in there, but she was doing something.
anyway. Michael Park did it on Broadway a couple of years ago. 4 characters.
Oh,
It was Liz
Virginia
Taylor
Woolf.
and
Virginia Woolf.
yes.
Virginia Woolf. Yes, Virginia Woolf.
Anyway, theater supported daytime
Yeah.
supported theater in the city, and that's gone now. But now the difference is there's so many primetime shows being shot in the city, in Astoria, and in the area that there's so much work for actors now, and a dog
And a dog.
now.
Yes, yeah. Yes, there is.
Like there never used to be like that.
Yeah, that's very true. You're right. No, you're right about that. That's very true.
Yeah.
But also I would have mentioned, because folks at home, Homegirl here is a consummate actor, because when she was going through oral cancer, you were also, and thank God you're okay, right? You're okay, everything's good. You also starred on stage, sang, ran around the stage, and got some of your best reviews during that time period.
You talking about Follies?
Yes.
When I did Sondheim's Follies?
Yes.
Oh God, that was 3 weeks after my third surgery. And my second and third surgeries were implantation of radioactive rods into my tongue, which are still there because they don't remove them. They're all still there. They're not alive anymore.
Right.
You know, the half-life of radioactivity. But yeah, 3 weeks after that second surgery, after they'd already removed half of my tongue, 2 months prior, I went out and did the lead in Sondheim's Follies. It was crazy.
The lead,
It was
folks.
crazy.
The lead. I mean, like, and Sondheim music. I mean, every song could range.
That character was a Barbara Ryan type character. Very strong, very, but yeah.
How'd you find the strength?
It was daunting. My friends who are not in the business said, you are out of your mind. You can't do this. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to come back sicker. And they were all wrong. Because the best message I got was being back on stage.
But you know what I'm saying? That's what it is, wasn't it? It's you're doing what you loved. It was like, I'm back doing what I love. You're trained. So you know how far to go and how far not to. I mean, you know what to do. You know what to do.
Well, it was also the fact that I was in so much pain. I was in so much physical pain from here up.
Yeah.
And I would get off the stage after a scene. I would have to go in and put topical antiseptic, topical, Novocaine, actually, all over everything, so I could go back out on stage and do the next scene. It was exhausting. And I did that with Bill and Susan Seaforth Hayes.
Yes.
I know.
We lost Bill, but
I know.
Yes, I love them. I know them personally. I love them. They're just amazing people. But yeah, I mean, you went out there. I'm like, you.
I know. That's what I do.
I'm like, that's good. I guess you just talk about Y&R, because I don't have you that much longer. So I guess about Y&R. Well, number one, you're working with one of my friends, which is Miss Haley Aon, which I just interviewed a few.
Oh, we were just talking this morning. She was playing with Boo.
I love Haley. I've known her for years. And I knew her when she was on General Hospital.
Oh, okay.
I knew her. I've known her for like 8-9 years, like a long time.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a long time ago when she first started, and so we're friends. And so I get to interview her a few weeks ago. Actually, interviewed her a few weeks ago. The interview is out, but she's lovely. But how is it working with her? Because you guys have your characters have this very twisted, I love it, twisted relationship. She's not really your daughter, but she's like a daughter-esque.
We think.
That's you too. I love you do that.
I'm throwing that to the universe.
Yeah. That's true. That's pretty funny. That's actually very good. That's very good, Colleen. That's very good. Not a fan. Oh my God, what? I love it. But what's it like working with her? Because at first it was mainly you kind of mainly it was with her doing
Well,
something.
she's a pro.
Yeah.
She's a pro, and she's been around, and she knows what she's doing, and she's very clear. And my favorite scenes I had with her were the scenes in the cabin where that standalone show with Haley and Mel
Yes.
and me, the three women, that whole show.
Ugh.
And Haley was so good, so good. But then there was a show that aired, I think in, oh God, late February maybe, where I'm in jail, or I'm in jail, and she comes to have
Yes.
it
Yes.
with me. She was incredible. She's really wonderful. She's a doll. I mean, she's just a darling girl.
She is. I agree.
Darling.
Yeah, she no, her kind of I'm trying to set up to this person who controlled my life thing. It's kind of like a child to a parent, a tormentor to a, it's like it's very very interesting. Like that scene was very good.
I don't well, and then there was a scene, the warehouse scenes
Oh yeah.
with all three Newman women, where I
Yes.
drink the poison at the end.
Yes.
That was a daunting day for the four of us. It was really tough.
Wow.
Really tough.
Unbelievable.
There was so many words.
Yeah.
And there was so much emotion and tension in the air. It was a hard day.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jordan, is when you play a villainous character or somebody unsavory, um, so do you have to, as an actor, you said earlier you try to find some humanity in them. Were you able to find humanity in Jordan?
I have found the humanity in Jordan.
Okay.
I have. Not very often.
But,
But,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be my friend.
No,
I don't think that she's terribly trustworthy, but something has damaged her along the way. I'm putting Boo down. Go find Tony. Go get Tony. Go get him.
I love it.
Where's Maddie? Where's Maddie? Go get him. There he is. I have found humanity in her, and I've created my own backstory, and about she's a troubled, damaged woman, and you just don't know where that came from. So that's what actors do. They create the backstory so it becomes believable.
Yes.
Because if it's not believable, it's not going to work.
Right.
And the thing with playing a villain is you can't play the villainry.
Right.
If you can't play the villainry, you can't twist.
No. Right.
That currently Jordan might be able to do that with what's on the air.
Yeah. I love it. But here's the thing, Colleen. So the villain thinks they're the hero in their own story. The villain's the victim in the story. Right? And that's the point. So you play that. That's what you've been doing. So it doesn't turn into cartoonery. It's like no, I'm playing that she's hurt.
She's damaged. She's had terrible trauma somewhere down the line, and it's changed her. And it's not just about her sister, which is what she keeps saying.
Right.
It's not. There's a lot more than that.
Oh, I see that. The way you're playing her, I see that. I feel like there's a story there that this woman, it just doesn't. There's a lot to unpack in there. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and some of that will be unpacked, but
I like it. Ding ding, folks. Yes. And I guess got much as we head out, of course, a couple of things. Melly Thomas Scott and Eric Brady.
Oh my God.
My buddies. And you work opposite. I mean, you and Eric had to. I never thought in the Grillion soap opera years I'd see Barbara Ryan and Victoria, together, and I see how's it like working with those two pros. I mean, I know them personally, but they're just wonderful.
I love. First of all, I worked with Mel first. I mean, we all worked together in the original Lake House scenes. All of
Oh, right,
all
right,
the things were there.
right.
But after that, I didn't really work with Aaron much until now.
Yeah.
And so Mel and I hit it. We had never in all these years and she's a tiny bit younger than I am, but in all these years in working, and we were both kid actors, we have a lot in common.
Right.
And we'd never even had a conversation together. We never knew each other, never had a conversation. I mean,
it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, yeah.
And I only had one conversation with Eric in all these years, and that was a number of years ago when I came out here for a press gig, and he was involved with it. And we talked for a little bit. It was the only time I ever talked to him. And now we're just enmeshed.
Yes.
And it's fabulous. I love working with Mel. And we have a very sister-like communication, and our work ethic is very similar, which I was told already before I got out here. And I went, thank God, someone who works the way that I do. On the other hand, Eric works in a very, very different way. And I was terrified in the beginning that I would not be able to find the rhythm with him.
Okay.
And guess what?
You found
we're like gangbusters together.
Yes. And they're both very funny off screen. You don't understand how both they're
hilarious.
Hilarious.
I mean, the whole family. Then there's Josh.
Right. Right. He's good. They're all hilarious. Off screen, they're all funny.
Really? Oh, yeah. I'm the luckiest actor in the world to be able to work with all of them and being given this mildly juicy role.
Mildly. Well, Colleen, thank you for being on my show. This has made my day. And folks, before we came on, she gave me some nice compliments, and I just want to say on camera again, thank you for the kind words. It's been a joy talking to you.
I meant it from my heart. Can I add one thing?
Yes, please.
Very off topic.
Oh, yes.
You brought the topic here, and it's about oral cancer.
Yes, please bring it, please.
April is Oral Cancer Awareness Month.
Oh, okay.
And I have been the national spokesperson for the Oral Cancer Foundation since 2007, after I was first diagnosed. And I have been, as you're aware, very vocal about getting screened.
Yes.
And when at the end, when I came back from Follies that first year after I was diagnosed, I walked into the executive producer's office at As the World Turns, and I'd already been in conversations with the Oral Cancer Foundation about this. And I talked to Chris Goutman, and I said, how would you feel about writing my own cancer into Barbara Ryan's storyline? And he said, we're way ahead of you.
Yep, they did.
So they worked with the Oral Cancer Foundation to write the story for awareness. And then CBS gave a couple $1 million worth of airtime for PSAs for quite some time, during not just like one day, but like for quite some time. And I was very grateful to the show, to Procter & Gamble, but especially to CBS for their generosity and the fact that they kept me working the whole time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And what I'll do is I'm gonna put the link in this underneath.
Yeah, oralcancerfoundation.org.
I'll definitely do that for you.
Okay.
I'm glad you're good, and hopefully we'll talk again soon. Hope we'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
watch her on Young and the Restless weekdays on CBS. I'm James Lott Jr. We'll talk to you next time.